Welcome to Ask Fear and Greed, where we answer questions sent in by listeners. I'm Julian King, and there's plenty of ways to ask a question. You can do it via LinkedIn, Instagram, X, TikTok or Facebook, or visit our website fearandgreed.com.au. And Sean, today's question is from Russell. He stumbled on the podcast, Russell, episode 30, which is about 4 years ago. And he writes, I'd grown very tired of the major news outlets and felt I couldn't rely on them to give a balanced or unbiased view. Alas, I found his show and have never looked back. We love listeners like Russell. But anyway, on to his question. He asked, who is benefiting from all this extra cash that's been collected from mortgage holders? So someone's benefiting from all this extra cash, and I'm hoping the Reserve Bank decision simply doesn't line the pockets of the big banks. Sean.
Yeah. Well, Russell, I have some good news and some bad news on this one. The good news is that people with deposits are the biggest beneficiaries. Many of those are retirees, so I don't really begrudge them. The bad news, at least for Russell, is that the banks are the other big winners because they push up mortgage rates much faster than they push up deposit rates. Look, let's jump into a little bit more detail. According to the Reserve Bank, about 2/3 of banks' funding comes from households and businesses' deposit accounts. We all have them. Might be the place where your pay goes into or an account you use to save for a holiday. Maybe it's a business's transaction account. The banks accepts the deposits, then it on-lends it, that money. The difference between what the banks pays depositors and then receives on loans is called the net interest margin. It's a proxy for the big four banks' profit margins. Now, if you think about interest rates, the Reserve Bank lifts what's known as the cash rate when it changes the interest rates. Other rates like mortgages, credit cards, personal loans, deposit rates, they broadly shift in line with what's happening to the cash rate. The cash rate has gone from 0.1% to 4.35% in the last 20 months. That's taken mortgage rates from 2 or 3 point something to 6 or 7 point something. If you have a $600,000 loan, you're paying about $1,650 more a month as a result of the higher cash rate. So effectively what Russell's saying is, who gets that extra $1,650? Basically, people with deposit accounts get the biggest chunk of it. Deposit rates are now up to 5%, though transaction accounts are more like 1% or less. When mortgage rates were 2 point something, most deposit accounts were pretty much nothing. But now they're 5%, so people with the deposit account are taking that money. Of course, the banks don't always lift deposit rates by as much as they lift mortgage rates, or they're much slower to shift on deposit rates. So some of that extra $1,650 ends up as part of the bank's profits. That's why rising interest rate environments are good for the bank's bottom line. So, Russell, the answer to your question about who's benefiting from higher mortgage rates is depositors mostly, but so too the banks.
Good on you. Thank you, Sean. That is Ask Fear and Greed. And if you have a question, just get in touch via LinkedIn, Instagram, X, TikTok and Facebook, or just jump on the website fearandgreed.com.au. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Julian King.